There's a new trend out there called Resenteeism. When you hate the job you're in, and it's obvious to everyone you hate the job you're in, but you won't do anything about it. Come on, man up, be an adult, quit that job, get a job that's within your passion.
We've got a new buzzword this time, and it's one not related to making less noise, surprisingly. I present to you, I hope I pronounce it right, Resenteeism. This is a portmanteau of the words resent and presenteeism. And if you don't know what a portmanteau is, basically it's a word blending the sounds and combining the meanings of two others like brunch. But to really understand this new buzzword, Resenteeism, we need to take a look at where it came from. The previous buzzword called presenteeism. Are you a human? Do you have issues outside of work that might affect your ability to focus at work? Well, you're experiencing presenteeism and you're costing your company billions. Presenteeism refers to the lost productivity that occurs when employees are not fully functioning in the workplace because of illness, injury, or other conditions. Even though the employee may be physically at work, they may not be able to fully perform their duties and are more likely to make mistakes on the job. And because you're there and you're working, it's difficult for your managers to see your gap in productivity compared to if you just didn't show up. From the Harvard Business Review, it says, "This is a new area of study, so questions remain around a host of issues, including the central one, the exact degree to which various illnesses reduce productivity. But researchers are concluding that presenteeism costs companies millions of dollars per year. Some companies don't even have sick days. They only have PTO days. So if you're sick and you don't have vacation, well, you got to come into work. But now you get a nice negative buzzword to shame you because you're at work and unfocused. It's a never-ending game, and you can never win." So what is resenteeism? Well, let's look at Glamour magazine or whatever, because this is the first place they talked about it. Resenteeism, the idea of staying in a job you are fundamentally unhappy in due to concerns of job security or lack of better options, but then start to actively resent it and make everyone aware of that fact. Sound familiar? Probably because we all have been or know someone like that in the workplace. That's me. I bring that "we should all quit today" energy to the office, and managers don't like that. Coined by staff management software provider Cloud, and just wait until we take a look at this company because it will make sense why they made up this word. Unlike presenteeism, going into work but not being productive, for instance, if you're sick, those suffering from resenteeism experience a lot more frustration surrounding their current situation, which is something that can catch among fellow staff. Now, I've actually experienced this firsthand at my previous mechanical engineering job, where they told me to my face, I quote, "Your work ethic is a cancer and a disease, and we can't allow you to be here," and spread that around the office. Now, this was back when I found out that my parents had just become homeless and lost everything, so of course I was a little unfocused. But I was stuck and couldn't go anywhere, so I actively started to resent that job and just didn't care anymore. About a year and a half later, after I left that job to go do code stuff and start YouTube and all that, everyone that worked there lost their jobs and the company was sold off, and I can say that karma has never felt better. Now, this next part of the article has me pretty confused, to be honest. They say resenteeism is the natural successor to quiet quitting, a term originally coined at a Texas A&M economics conference that simply breaks down to doing the bare minimum at your job. It's not doing the bare minimum, it is satisfying the requirements of your job and then leaving. And then it continues and says, instead of going above and beyond to progress. So they make the faulty assumption that if you do go above and beyond, you will progress. That's what happens. An obvious response to burnout, it's been heavily spearheaded by Gen Z's arguably clever approach to work smart, not hard. What's wrong with working smart, not hard? So let's break this down. Number one, this is like literally the same thing as quiet quitting. That one just failed, so it looks like they're trying to do a rebranding. Number two, why make up a new word when the existing word resentment works just as well? There's just no need. And then number three here, we don't want your term to describe that all too common workplace experience. We just want to have better workplace experiences. Now let me pause here for a second, and I'd like you to notice that once again, just like quiet hiring, this term was created by a corporate executive. Remember Gartner, the corporate think tank that invented quiet hiring? Just executives making up words to box in employee behavior. Specifically, it was made up by Pamela Hines, the HR lady at Cloud, that company I mentioned earlier. This is her LinkedIn page, and she has some activity talking about how her company won Employer of the Year award. And don't worry, we're going to get to that too. But it's actually hilarious because when I started looking into Cloud, the company, it's exactly what you would expect. The first thing you'll see here is their perks page says they offer a generous salary. And I'm aware salaries in the UK are usually lower than in the US, so I'm not expecting something crazy, but according to their salary information page on Indeed for a senior software test engineer, 29,934 Great British pounds per year, which is 34% below the national average. Of course, you got to say generous salary and then be below the national average by 34%. Of course. You see where we're going with this? Now, I know these numbers are just from Indeed, but I wanted to cross-reference and check, so I went to Glassdoor.com. And what I noticed over here on Glassdoor is that the numbers are actually a little bit higher. This is what they pay their job JavaScript developer. Here is the national average for a JavaScript developer in the United Kingdom. It's the same thing for Android developer, 41,000, national average, 55,000. Even with 0 years of experience, it's still more than Rotocloud is paying. Here's another example for a customer support specialist. This was posted 30 plus days ago, and if we scroll down to the bottom here, what's in it for you? Salary, 20 to 25K, depending on experience. Now here is the national average for that exact same role in the United Kingdom. This next one here is daily fika time. On top of an hour-long lunch break, you get 15 minutes to drink tea and have a cookie, I guess. Meals and trips out. Work hard, play hard. Whenever you read work hard, play hard at a company, red flag, bye. You'll enjoy plenty of takeaways, office game nights, and meals out. So not just game nights, you got to go to the office to have the game nights. And if that's the case, again, hard pass. The next one is casual dress.
You can wear shorts and a t-shirt.
Okay, well, I'm sitting at a computer all day anyways. Why would I wear a suit and tie for that? This isn't a perk, especially if you're a software company. Get this out of here. The next one is flexible working hours. Need to drop the kids at school? No problem. We can organize the hours. You work around your schedule. Now, this sounds nice, and when I was looking at their Employer of the Year awards, it said that some people can organize a 4-day work week, and you can work 4 10s, or you can go work remotely in Greece if you want. But then I found a job posting where you'll be working. This is a hybrid role with requirements to work from our open office plan in the center of historic York and flexibility of working in your own home when suitable. When suitable for the employee or when suitable for the employee's boss. The next perk they list is build a life-changing career. You don't get to list working at work a perk. Here's another one, discretionary bonus. Sounds like a literal carrot on a stick. We can give this to you at our discretion. It exists. We might give it to you. Who knows? We can just list a bunch of things that might happen. That's a carrot on a stick. Now let me show you where their office is located. And as you can see, it's pretty much downtown. I'm going to guess they're on like the second floor up here because my little dude is facing Rotocloud, but I can't see it. Anyways, fun fact about this location is that this is what inspired Harry Potter's Diagon Alley. I mean, it's kind of cute. Kind of looks just like it. But the point I'm getting at is that this office space is probably very expensive, and they're already paying below the national average according to Indeed's salary report. So why don't you get rid of this office and just let everyone work remotely? Then you can at least pay your people more. Also, they use the Harry Potter line as a recruitment thing. It's kind of cringe. Our office is located in the historic city of York, just a stone's throw away from countless shops, blah, blah, blah. The street that inspired Harry Potter's Diagon Alley. Get rid of your office and pay your employees more. How about that? You're a software company anyways. Why do you need to, come on. Fika time? How about you go fika yourself instead? Now, like I mentioned earlier, they also won Employer of the Year award in their own town of York here. But this is the only article that exists on it, is their tiny little local newspaper. And then they talk about all the different perks you can get there, like long lunch breaks, 4-day work weeks, but then you saw the customer support where it says requirements to come into the office. So the choice to work anywhere in the world, but you just saw it said requirements to come into the office. You get a budget for plants. They're already underpaying. Annual learning fund gives every employee $500 a year to spend on gaining new skills. Do we really need to talk about how you're underpaying anymore? Just give them the $500 to spend it on whatever they want instead. Regular breaks are encouraged in the day to achieve a work-life balance, and the company allows a 2-hour lunch break a couple of times a week from January to April to help make the most of daylight. If you have a flexible arrangement, why does this matter anyways? You know, if you can work wherever you want, whenever you want, why does that matter? A paid 2-hour lunch break? I mean, if I'm in Greece working remote anyways, the entire day is a paid break. Down here it says every Friday the team spent half a day learning something new or working on their own projects, just like Google did. Wow, you copied and pasted Google, except you missed the salary paste part because, oof, you know, underpaying again. I've seen plenty of best places to work that are nothing but the opposite. I think Better.com even got voted as like one of the top places to work or something like that, and then, you know, it's just layoff after layoff. So when I read awards like this, it doesn't change everything for me, although when I did read it the first time, I had to reread my script for this video, and then I started to dive into the job posts and put everything together, and it's like, yeah, this is all just fluff. So they make up a word about employees being resentful in their work life and then do almost every single thing that causes employee resentment. Let's flip this concept around for a second and apply it to companies instead.
Don't want to pay up for the qualified workers you're looking for? Are you angry at the underpaid and underqualified workers you've hired instead?
You may suffer from resenteeism. Now stick with me here and grab your tinfoil hats for just a second. You see, if corporations can create a new buzzword before workers do, they can control the optics around it. They control what news articles it goes out to and what journalists they want to contact. It's easy to make up a definition of something and then use that to shift blame from the company to the worker. If companies and news articles just started saying, workers these days are full of resentment, then people would ask why. Are you paying them well? Are they taken care of? Why are they resentful? So instead, when you call it resenteeism, and that's not a real word, you can say whatever you want and frame it however you want, like placing inherent blame on the employee. They already tried to take the definition of quiet quitting and then repurpose it to call everyone lazy for doing their job and going home instead of working extra for free. In the eyes of some of these companies, burnout, disengagement, unhappiness, these are moral failures that are the responsibility of the worker, because it can't be their fault that you're experiencing any resenteeism if you are. They have yoga balls at work and a weekly fresh fruit raffle, and you might win a banana. And don't forget, you have that wellness app that reminds you to drink water, right? So they think that they've done their part. It's a bit like corporate Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong, and when it does, it's always the employee's fault and their personal failures causing it, not the company's. Although the CEO will say
that I take full responsibility for this decision. I'm the founder and CEO. I'm responsible for the health of our company, for our direction.
Right after confirming that mass layoff email. Let's look at someone else. Here is a recruiter telling you how to deal with resenteeism if you're experiencing it.
There's a new trend out there called resenteeism. It's basically like quiet quitting. It's when you hate the job you're in, and it's obvious to everyone you hate the job you're in, but you won't do anything about it. Number one, if you suffer from that, come on, man up, be an adult, quit that job, get a job that's within your passion. Employers, if you've got an employee like this, with this, help them along.
Yep, that's right. Man up and quit. It's something about this just rubbed me the wrong way. I don't want to be rude, but like, how does this guy have a job? And how is this real advice? There's not a one-size-fits-all solution for everyone that dislikes their job. By saying man up and quit, you completely undermine all of the reasoning for why they might be experiencing these issues in the first place. Like, you know what I hear when he says that, man up and quit?
We don't want to deal with addressing the issues you're unhappy about. Man up and quit.
Or,
we prefer to underpay and overwork someone else, so if you could just man up and quit already, thanks.
and then there's the part where he tells the employer to help motivate that employee to quit. Has this person ever heard of golden handcuffs? Maybe he doesn't understand the concept of people staying at a job just for like health insurance or something. And then he mentions jump to your passion. And not everyone can just jump to a passion, let alone a passion that pays their bills. And who's to say just because they follow their passion, they won't end up in the exact same place? What I think we should do is define this word by using it in the way that causes it. Resenteeism is when you're in the office because you've been told to be in the office despite knowing you'd be getting more work done if you were working from home. Resenteeism, when you're in a meeting that could have been an email. Resenteeism, when the company announced record profits but denies your raise because somehow it's not in the budget. Now here is an article that talks about the 5 steps to deal with resentment at work. Communicate with your manager or HR and explain your dissatisfaction. Don't do that. HR is there to protect the company, not to help the employee. Do you want to be first on the chopping block? Do you want to get a fake smile that says,
"Okay, we understand. We'll work on some things for you,"
and then suddenly get fired and when the next layoff happens? Like, don't talk to your manager or your HR person about what you're unhappy with, even if you think you can trust them. I don't know. It's just super risky. Don't do that. The second one here, consider what you need from your job to make you feel happy and discuss your career plan, work-life balance, and job satisfaction with your manager. I probably wouldn't do that. And who's to say your manager cares about any of that stuff? They might not care at all. Take care of your physical and mental health. You can apply this to literally anything. This has nothing specific to do with resentment. Keep an eye out for other opportunities. The entire premise is that people are going to their job because there aren't other opportunities, and they most likely are keeping an eye out, but there isn't. So, resenteeism. Remember that your job can be just a job. It doesn't have to be all-consuming. This is the premise of quiet quitting. You just do your job. It doesn't have to be all-consuming. You don't have to go above and beyond. You know, the classic hypocritical moves here by companies. It's just interesting that the company that creates this buzzword is also the corporate cringe offender. Anyways, guys, that is today's buzzword, resenteeism. Completely useless as we already have quiet quitting and the word resent. So if you enjoyed this video, hit that sub button, hit that like button, leave a comment, let me know what you think of the video. And if you have anything else like this, any more buzzwords you want me to cover, you can email me, Discord, Instagram, however you want to do it. The links are all down in the description. Having said all that, I hope you're doing well, and I'll see you in the next one.
Come on, man up.